What's going on, everybody? It's Afro Think Tank. Today I want to talk about a major issue that Nigerians and other Africans bring to me when it comes to coming back to Africa and doing business or establishing anything. Because one of the major comments I always get is, how the hell am I able to do business in Nigeria from America? How the hell am I able to accomplish the things that I've accomplished? How did I find a trusted business partner to do business with? How the hell am I able to do this? Because they'll tell me that they're Nigerian, right? They're from these places that they see me at. And they're like, they can't, some of them have done, what I'm doing, but a lot of them can't. I get personal emails and comments, and their frustration is that they want to do it. They have the land, they have the capability, they have the money, but what they don't have is trustworthy family members that they can trust to facilitate the things that they need to be facilitated, because constantly their money is being abused, being taken advantage of, and the thing is, I can relate on a local level, just being an African American. In my family alone, I got people who ain't got no money, right? They only call me when they need some money, right? I got brothers who don't know how to pick up the phone, live in the same state, right? I cannot see them for years, but when they need something, guess who they call? Me, right? And then they don't appreciate. I got sisters that also don't appreciate me. I got sisters that won't call me I got a sister that didn't call me for 10 years, but didn't call me because they needed some money, So I fully understand what it is to have family members who's supposed to be the ones that, that you could trust the most when it comes to building and establishing something for the family, for the group, for everybody. And it's just really frustrating when, when you're working hard to do things for yourself, you're working hard to build a future for your family, but your family don't really want to participate in the work portion. They just want to indulge and enjoy all your hard labor, and they go off and they take your money and they do everything but what you ask them to do. They go spend your money and live the most luxurious life they can in your home country. But when you want them to do something simple like invested in building this, invested in funding this business, for some reason it slips their mind. And then a lot of times when they come back home to see, what it is that their money has produced, those same family members that you can find when they need some money, guess what? You can't find them when they come home. And there's a lot of people that come home, their mothers take advantage of them, their fathers take advantage of them. Most of the times it seems to be their brothers and sisters that take advantage of them. So like I said, I understand, right? And it frustrates the first generation Africans that's out here busting their ass to make all this money. And the thing is, the people at home, the people within these countries, they don't understand how hard, you guys are working out here in the UK, in France, in America, in Canada. They don't understand the economies, the systems, how everything works. They don't understand any of that stuff. All right. They think that they sent you off to these foreign lands and that you're just rich and you're making all this money and life is easy, because from their perspective within the African system and how things work, it's a more relaxed, slower environment here, right? So they may think that you're having that same relaxed, slow environment there, but it's equating to lots and lots of money. Now understand the hecticness of the life in Western countries, right? So something has to be done, because in order for the countries, when they get those remittance from their diaspora and family members, to truly benefit, the people within the countries are going to have to start showing some sort of discipline, right? Some discipline with the money that's being sent to them, right? So when your brother sends you money to build a house, guess what? You need to be building that house like your life depended on it, right? When your brother sends you money to buy land and they want you to put up make sure the paperwork is correct and make sure that the border is correct, y'all need to be on that. Y'all need to be making sure that the paperwork is correct and that land is correct. And y'all need to be valuing the money that your people from the diaspora send you as if it's your money that you work extremely hard for. Because I know people who don't work for things, they don't appreciate or value those things when they don't have to work for it. That's a human thing. And it's not just an African thing. I hear a lot of Africans say it's a uniquely African thing, but it's not. The same thing happens with Mexicans. The same thing happens with Chinese. The same thing happened with with Japanese, not so much, because their countries are pretty much built up thanks to America after they, genocided them and dropped a nuclear bomb on them and all thing. That's the least they can do. But the same thing happens with any group of diasporans that come from any country that has a high level of poverty, right? The people who are suffering or living in that poverty, all they want you to do is send them money so they can enjoy it. So they go buy temporary things. They go buy things that satisfy them in the short term, and they don't think about the long term, right? I even see people here. There's a lot of people here that got lots of land, like lots. When I say lots of land, and they're considered poor, right? They are in fact poor monetarily, but they have millions of US dollars worth of land and assets on that land that they don't know how to exploit or don't understand what they have, right? And I can see how the irresponsibleness of those people who have all these real legitimate resources that they don't know how to use, how they squander it or they sell it for pennies on the dollar to people taking advantage, and they do all these various things. I can see how the diaspora, who are sitting out here working hard thinking they're saving money to come back to the family land to build some institution, to build something big, I can see how they can get discouraged. And then they start complaining and say, I'm not gonna send you no money. Because there's gonna come a point in time where they're gonna stop sending you guys money, right? They're gonna stop sending money home because they get frustrated, especially as how hard these people work for the money that they make. So somehow the diaspora is gonna have to teach the Continental Africans, how valuable that money that they send to them is. They're gonna have to teach them that, right? And the diasporans are gonna have, the people in the countries, they're gonna have to learn how to really and truly appreciate that money that's been sent, and gonna have to change their mindset and think of the long term. Taking that money that maybe your brother, your sister sending from the UK or from France, maybe taking that money and doing exactly what it is that they say do with, Forego buying temporary things that satisfy you temporarily. Forego trying to show off to the rest of the village people that, oh, I got a sibling that's in the UK or that's Canada's making money, trying to show off in front of the rest of the village. They're gonna have to forego some of that temporary things, because like I said, it's the same thing that happens in America. When you have maybe a rich sibling that moved to an affluent part of America, and they got some other siblings that live in like the hood or the ghetto, and they try to come down and try to uplift their brothers and sisters by giving them calves, because you're empathetic to your brothers and sisters. You want to see them do good. You want to see them thrive, right? But when you send them money for them to live and thrive, they take advantage of it, right? And then they expect you to do it as if it's your job to take care of them completely and totally, right? That can be very, very stressful to a diasporan who's out here busting their ass, slaving, legitimately slaving in the Western system in order for the people on the continent to live these lavish lives that they're living off the monies that's been sent back, without doing the things necessary to create a situation where they won't need that money, because they're making that money in their own homelands, in their own village, based off the investment that their siblings or their family members in the diaspora are sending. It's a big problem. I'm talking, I get hundreds and I'm not exaggerating, hundreds and hundreds of emails of frustrated Nigerians who wish they can just come out and do these things that I'm doing. Because I know for a fact, first generation Nigerians, first generation diasporans have the capability, if they had trustworthy family members, to do 10 times what I'm doing, 10 times over, because they have a serious advantage when it comes to knowing the landscape, knowing the political situations, knowing the local situations, knowing the geographical areas, what's good. They have the advantage. They just missing that one piece, trustworthy family members, right? Now, it could be possible, and I've been thinking about this, if I ever get into a position to where I can facilitate this type of thing, I may also create a business to where the whole business itself is to facilitate first and second generation diasporans who want to come back to Nigeria and do something, and have a trustworthy institution who could be like their, they'd be like their eyes and ears, in the country. Somebody who can, have a power of attorney, I would definitely have lawyers and stuff like that, power of attorney who can facilitate activities on their behalf so they don't have to use their family members who they can't trust. Because you can't do nothing if you can't trust nobody. And the only way Africans are going to be able to leverage the Western money that they work so hard for, to leverage it in Africa to have the maximum effect, the only way they're going to be able to do that is they have somebody they can trust over here to make it happen. Because they have you, until you reach the point to where you're rich over here in American standards, they're going to have to stay in these Western countries and continue to toil and work and slave to create that money that makes things so much better for their family members back home, that they take advantage of, because they don't appreciate the actual hard work, the actual stress, you know. Because look, these Nigerians are dying. Every Nigerian I know are working 2-3 fucking jobs. They're killing themselves. I know some that's died driving from one job to another. Like, I know this intimately, how hard these Nigerians, especially these Igbos, man. I mean, these Igbos in DC, they work 2-3 jobs and they still trying to find another job. They're constantly working. They never get sleep. They slave to send money home, right? They slave, and it's the only people that work like them are Jamaicans. They do the same shit. Like, Jamaicans and them damn Igbos do the same shit. And it's just heartbreaking because I see how much they suffer, right? Trying to take care of their entire family, right? Trying to build something in their homeland to better their people so they can have a place to retire. Because America's not a place to retire. Nobody wants to retire in America. It's too expensive. They want to retire home, but they can't build nothing, like I said, because of the family. And I know that's a big issue. That is definitely something culturally that needs to be tackled. Now, that needs to be tackled everywhere, right? Because like I said, it's not an African problem specifically. It's a human problem when it comes to diasporans going to places that are financially rich, right, and sending their remittance back to their mother countries where the people there are considered poor, right? But because I'm African, I'm talking to my African brothers and sisters, you know. But it applies to pretty much everybody, you know, in everybody in the world who's dealing with that same situation. How you doing? So, yeah, that's just something we got to talk about, because we have bad habits. We have bad habits within the black community that we need to tackle. And we need to acknowledge that it's a problem. We need to acknowledge it's a problem because our money is being wasted. It's being squandered. It's not being used like a laser to make effective change. It's not being used like the tool that it is to fix the problems necessary in these communities. Because I'm telling you, there are enough diasporans from all these little villages. If their money were to go where it's supposed to go, if the people here were trustworthy enough towards their family members to change their mindset and think of long term, think of a community, and not think of, oh, let me go take this money and get my hair done. Let me go take this money and go buy a car that I don't need so I can show off in front of all the rest of the people in my village, you know, to show that I got more than them because I got an American or a Canadian or a UK or a French brother or sister or mother or auntie or uncle or father. You know what I'm saying? That temporary short-term thing. Because remember, I'm African American, very familiar with it. What do? We got what our guys do. They go buy gold change, unnecessary gold chains that cost $20,000 when they could have took that $20,000 and bought some land, and then they go buy shoes and pants that cost $1,500, $2,000, $1,600 when they could have took that money and invested in their community or invested in their family to build something to make even more money in the long term, because they're thinking short term and they just want to show off and look rich instead of actually being rich. You see, rich people do their best not to look rich because they are rich. But poor people do their best to try to look rich. That's why they can't get rich, because they don't have their priorities in order. They don't understand how to use their money, how financial literacy. And financial literacy is something that the Europeans have not taught us. Hell, most Europeans got the same problems. They don't have financial literacy either. The only ones that know are the ones that's lucky enough to be a part of the circles that teach them the financial literacy that they need to navigate this world properly and to use their money as a tool. So I just want to talk about that because that's a big issue, right? And I was just lucky enough to find good business partners because of the way I operate personally. Like, ain't nobody getting one over me. I'm a very worldly person, right? I don't play that with my money. I used to be a salesperson. I know all the tricks. I can read people. I'm a great judge of character. So, you know, and I trust but verify. I verify every single thing that I do, and I take my time. I don't care how long it takes for me to verify that what I'm doing is what I'm doing, and where my money is going to do what it's supposed to do, because I just don't play that game. All right? But it's time for us to have these conversations. It's the most important conversation as black people, as Africans, that we need to have, is how to use our money effectively, how to be financially literate, and how to make our family members back home appreciate the hard work that we have to, the hard work that we do in order to bring this money to them. And for all my African brothers and sisters in the diaspora who's working hard, you know, on behalf of everybody, I appreciate you and I see what you're doing, right? And a lot of people do see what you're doing, right? You guys got to find a way. And like I said, if I ever give an opportunity to create a business to facilitate you guys, I'm going to do it. Mark my words. Remember that I said that, right? Because it's something that's necessary to make the connection between the West and siphon all of that money, all that rich. See, the West is built off the backs of Africans. All this wealth that you see now, that's old money. We need to get all that old money and put it right back where it belongs, into Africa. And the only way we're going to do that is have the proper circuitry, the proper connection to siphon that money back to where it belongs and have that money do what it's supposed to do to build the communities that once were great, powerful, and influential, to build those communities back to its greatness. You know, but we're going to need financial literacy on both sides for that to happen. Anyway, that's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.